All right, everyone. Well, welcome to this month's masterclass. We are talking about creating your client avatar, but it's more than creating. I think it's really knowing who are your ideal clients. Because when you know who your ideal clients are, it's a lot easier to find them. And then you can be in a conversation with someone and go, okay, they said all my buzzwords, or they've answered these questions that I know. I literally just did this in our summer accelerator. Um, so it's kind of fresh on my mind to do again, but it's always very, very important to know who is your ideal client. Because if you're telling me, oh, it's everyone, you are wrong. Usually your ideal client is someone who is a reflection of you. They're mirroring who you are or who you were 2 to 5 years ago, because that's how you have the answers to help them, right? You've already walked the path and they're looking for those answers. You have the solution, right? When you know who your client avatar is, it's a lot easier. So I always like to start all of my master classes. I should ask, is anyone here for the first time? First time? Or are you all long time? Maggie's first time? Awesome. Anyone else? Jason's first time. Terrific. Thank you and welcome. If you don't know who I am, my name's Camille Miller. I am the founder and creative visionary behind the Soul Professional Society. We are a global business incubator for soul-aligned entrepreneurs all over the world. We represent about 22 countries right now. So I'm really excited about that. All people that are doing what they love in alignment with who they are. And I teach business through that lens. So I am a university professor, but I have learned through my years that, boy, they are not teaching what people actually have to know. So I am redesigning the business curriculum at this point, and it's in beta testing right now. But doing it for the soul-led entrepreneur. So those are people in alignment with who they are. But I also call them micro entrepreneurs in service to others, because in the university world that I teach in, the academic, it's usually product-based and it's usually 5 million and above, right? And I shouldn't say few people, but most of what I see the world going to are these micro entrepreneurs that are in business for themselves and they have global markets, usually presenting some type of service to others. So that is my very, very specific niche. And that's why we're going to talk about your avatar, because when you specifically know who you are, people just go, yep, that's my person, right? 100% of my business is word of mouth. We do no advertising at all. If I ask you, or if I know how you came in contact with me, actually, I'd love to see it in the chat if you guys want to do that. Let me know how you came in contact with me, and it's usually an introduction. Some people saw a post on Facebook. I really don't do social media. I don't even have a website on my own. I know Christy just joined, who gave me a lovely message while I was visiting Europe that said, your picture is not on your website. I was like, 10 years, you'd think I would have figured that one out. So that is the organization's website, soulprofessional.com. Because I just don't do any of it. I don't really do social media. If you've been to my master classes before, you'll know that I teach more of you be you, and people will be attracted to who you are authentically. So you don't have to do all of this stuff that people say you have to do. I have learned through many, many, many years of growing companies myself that you just don't have to do it. You actually attract when you present who you are. So in all of my classes, I'm talking about being authentic, having your vision, you being you. You do stuff that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Right? If you don't like doing videos, don't do them. If you don't like doing social media, don't do it. But if you have a brilliant idea and you want to share it with others, make a post and put it out there, right? Because people will be more attracted to that than you just putting crap out there because someone told you how to put crap out there 3 times a week. Does that make sense? So if you've been a part of it, you'll know. So I always like to start by hearing why you felt compelled to show up today. If it's because you don't know who your avatar is, if it's just because, hey, I show up to all your master classes, doesn't matter what you talk about. Why'd you show up today? And if there's something that you specifically want to learn, I make sure it's in the curriculum. So I start all of my classes with asking why you're here today. Anyone have anything to share? Why you showed up? How I can help? We're going to talk about stuff anyway, but I always love to know if there's a reason. If you can raise your hand or just wave violently, that would be helpful. Hank, do you have something?
Yeah, I showed up because we met, I think, through an online networking meeting. We had a really good connection. I enjoyed the time that we spent when we chatted one-on-one. Also, I've been to another of your master classes and I saw this come up and I said, it's been a little bit too long since I've been to one, so I got to come and it's a good topic.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for showing. All right. I saw Felicia wrote, I don't know exactly what I want or how to refine who my avatar is. That's perfect because that is exactly what we're talking about today. Um, Maggie, I would like to refine my avatar. I don't feel super clear. I also get stuck in what it should be, not what the reality is. Oh my gosh, that is such a good one. So many times people are going, well, I'm going to go after that high-end client, or I'm going to go after, whatever. I actually once had someone tell me that they wanted to help women feel less stressed, but they were targeting women in very high corporate positions and women that had children. And this particular coach was neither. Didn't have any children, never held a corporate job. I was like, that is so not your avatar. I was like, it can't be. You have no idea what their stress is like, right? It's stress for them is different than stress for you. You can't talk about that, right? So that's why I always say it's who you are, right? Who you've been, right? That's what it is. Anyone else? Anything? I like is it yet? Wait, I can do this. Yelan, I can't do this. I can't do it today. Turning my real client as well. Oh, tuning into my real client. Hanks reminds me of the 20-year-old life coach. Yes. so, so true. All right. Judy, expanding perspective and deepening my own knowledge. Fabulous. All right. All right. Okay, so let's jump in and get started. Hopefully I'm gonna answer all of these questions for you. So roughly there's a lot of questions to ponder, and I'm going to read you a client avatar that actually I worked with one of my one-on-one clients, and she allows me to share it with you. So because I thought it was so well written, and I'm going to go through a lot of these questions with you on how we got to this, but a client avatar is way more than, I work with women, or I work with men, or I work with even an age group, right? It has to be who they are, but more importantly, wait, looking at my notes, what makes them who they are. So it's their demographics, which is age, gender, income level, education, occupation, things like that, right? And a lot of people do demographics, but they very rarely go into psychographics, which is personality traits, values, life choices, interests, attitudes, right? I a lot of times listen for the word soul, right? When people are talking. I know that a lot of my people um, are highly intelligent. They're very creative. They may have worked in corporate jobs, or they're very specifically trained in one area of life. That does not make their heart sing anymore. I know many of them start listening to Abraham Hicks or Esther Hicks, right? I know they look to read spiritual books, like things like that, right? Those are lifestyle choices or personality traits. They're kind of exploring their spiritual side, but they're highly logical. Most of my people that come to me are highly logical, but soul led. They want to do something that makes their heart sing, but they've been in a structured environment. And the other one is behavioral insights. So buying habits, spending patterns, decision-making processes. Um, um, Many of my people go for a more simplistic life. They like to travel. They more look for experiences than things and stuff. And those are some of the things that when you talk about your avatar, and we'll go through some questions to help bring this out, that you have to think about. So when you're in a networking event and you meet people, you can immediately say, that's my person, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be an end client, by the way. But when people are your people, you resonate. Like Hank said, like we met in another group, right? And he's showing up here. We may never be each other's end clients, right? But we may be able to refer people or who I know, right, that I can send to Hank or something like that because I appreciate it or we work with the same type of client. So it's really, really important when you know your type, who else works in that same arena, right? So that's part of the soul professional community is people are all over the world, right? I know all of my people work on Zoom, right? Because, and I also say all of my people have LinkedIn profiles. So if I'm ever talking to you, I usually look for you on LinkedIn. And I always check out your profile. I think LinkedIn is one of the most important things you can do right now because that says, okay, they're a professional to me, right? If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you're probably not ready for me, right? There's a lot of other coaches you could be ready for, but you're probably not ready for me. Right. So there are little things that I can see, and those are the things that you have to know. So you have qualifying questions. So if I'm talking to you, I'm asking qualifying questions, but you have no idea, right? I'm qualifying you in my head of where you are in your business. Does that make sense? All right. So I am going to help you with some questions and some ideas, but first I'm going to read you this very detailed client avatar by someone. This was a one-on-one client a while ago who is now a multimillionaire. When she came to me, she was actually afraid of people. But this is years ago, and we just connected again and just tell me where her business was. It was pretty amazing. All right. Her client. She is a successful woman in her career business that she is passionate about. She earns a high income. She is genuine, loving, and caring of other people. She has a deep mission within the work that she does. Through her work, she is able to elevate the consciousness of other people and bring joy and beauty to the world. I feel deeply honored and happy to work with her. I feel aligned with her as both of our careers are about elevating the consciousness of the planet. Her main problem is lack of balance in her life. She is working too much and not really focusing on herself. There are areas that she feels challenged by, and she doesn't know how to solve them through her logical mind. She needs clarity and direction and a new perspective. I can easily help her clean up in this area through the teaching of the guides, who will pinpoint precisely what she needs to improve and how to do it, helping her walk that middle path, which is her trademark. She is a committed client who not only shows up on time to each session, but she is also here to share my work openly and generously with her friends and anyone she knows. She is my best ambassador and advertiser. She is my biggest source of referrals. I am deeply grateful for her loving words that she spreads everywhere so that more people come to buy my books, my online courses, and my private packages. My client pays her invoices quickly, and she is confident and eager in doing work with me. I appreciate her fast response and timely payments. She is diligent. She is a diligent student who applies her lessons that she learns from the guides and thus sees improvement quickly as a result. She is willing to listen carefully with an open mind. I am so happy for her and so glad to be a witness of her transformation. She is an easy sell because by the time she comes to me, she's ready to do the work with me and the guides. She can comfortably afford my rate. She accepts payments and terms, conditions easily and gracefully. I appreciate how effortless and graceful this relationship is, and I love her. How is that for an avatar, right? I love this. One of the things that I love specifically about this is she comments and she expects from her person that she pays easily. She doesn't say, oh, you're too much for me, right? Timely. She appreciates her transformation. She talks about her and gives her referrals as what I call a raving fan. If you've ever taken a raving fan class of mine, right? Those are the people that talk about you. 100% of my business is word of mouth. 100%. That's called raving fans. When they keep saying, you have to meet this person, you have to meet this person, right? You should all have raving fans, right? So it's in here that that person, after she works with them, becomes a raving fan. Does that make sense? So she puts in here the things that are important to her. She shows up on time. She's easy to work with. She's a raving fan. She's deeply grateful. All of this. So all of this should be also a part of your avatar, right? So you're not hanging with people that are in scarcity mindset, if that's your thing. But if, scarcity mindset is your avatar, that's okay too, right? It took me a long time to start adding these levels. And you're never going to get it all at once, right? But it's a point of adding levels because as you grow, your avatar grows with you, right? You no longer work with, they're not lower level people, but as you grow, there's other people that do that work that you used to do, and you kind of grow with your client, right? So your client always grows. So they're always like 2 to 5 years behind where you are, right? Because you're better at what you do, right? You charge more over the years, right? And you still want them to come to you. For a long, long, long time, I did a lot of mindset work around money and all of that. I don't do that anymore because when people come to me, they've already done the inner work, right? If people still need a lot of inner work, I refer them now and say, when you're done working with this person, Tyson's a great one, right? If you guys know Tyson Sharp that I do a meeting with, we've become great for each other because when they're not ready for me, I give them to Tyson. A lot of times they come out of Tyson's program when they're ready for that next step, they come to me. So we've become these great referral partners. And it's really good for you to know who's before your person and who's after your person, right? They've done this type of work before they've met me, right? Especially as you're increasing your pricing, right? They can easily afford you and it's not a problem for them. Does that make sense? All right, any questions or concerns before I keep going? No, I can't, because I record this, I can't always see all of you, so you can always use the hand thing. If you have a question, you can also use the chat and I will read that along the way. So, all right. So when we talk about your avatar, I'm getting a list of questions here. The first part is really easy, right? There's probably a gender that you work with. I work with all genders, but you may work with 1 or 2 or whatever it is for you, right? I work with all genders. I don't care where they come from, who they are as a person. That is not my qualifier, right? There's different things that are qualifiers, right? They have to be soul-led. I have made the mistake of working with people that are not soul-led, right? I no longer do that. Right? I've made the mistake of talking people into my work. I only work with people that are a hell yes now. Like if you're not a hell yes, and I never talk people into my programs because if you're not ready, you will not get what I'm offering you. Does that make sense? So all that sale, I used to be a sales trainer too. I can do all of that stuff. I don't do it because those aren't my people. If I have to convince you, that's not my people. But I'll always jump on a call and answer anyone's questions at any time, right? Because they're going through a thought process. And I know that my people have a long thought process because they've probably spent a lot of money on other coaches and have not had good results. So by the time they find me, they are a little skittish, not even a little, a lot, right? And I know that. So it takes time for people to trust me, and I get it. And that's why I offer free programs, right? So people get to know who I am. And some people will hang out here forever, and that's fine with me because my mission is to help other people bring their gifts to the world, right? Doesn't matter if I get paid. My mission is to help other people bring their gifts to the world, and that's why there's a free level for everything I do. And if people upgrade, that's great. And if they don't, that's okay too, right? My job is not to convince people of my power and my great genius, right? And that's for you too. It is not your job to convince people how great you are. You are great. You guys are all masters at what you do, and you will become even more masterful at what you do over time. This is more about how to run your business so you're not wasting any of your time. And I am all about just making lots of money in a shorter amount of time, right? So if you're always in your zone of genius and you're doing things that make you feel good, you never feel like you're working, you're able to take off time, you just kind of be you. All right, so you guys should all have paper because I'm going to rattle off a lot of questions. And these are just to think about. You don't have to know everything now. All right. But everyone starts with the big stuff, the gender. The next is the age. I know that usually my people run between like 48, it's getting younger now, right? It used to be like 48 to like 62. I am finding now that I can work with a 30-year-old, right? As long as they're creative, right? As long as they've had some type of history before them. In fact, you know what? This woman, I think she was under 30, to tell you the truth. Because the world is changing, my client has changed. Does that make sense? Because there are more creatives and more people not even going into corporate jobs, right? They're not starting at this logical place. They're just going, screw that, I'm doing my own thing. And that's okay. So I have to kind of change for that. But you should know your age range. It should not be everyone. That doesn't mean that you don't have this like splatter of other things that may happen, but your avatar is really like, if you're doing advertisement, who is it hitting? Like, is it hitting this target group, right? And it should be kind of small, right? I work with a lot of health coaches and stuff. I was like, you should have a range of who you're working with because metabolisms are different, right? Life is different for different age groups. So know who your best target is, and it's usually around where you are, right? You have to have your hand in that. What do they do for fun? I don't know what my people do for fun. I guess we're kind of active. A lot of them do yoga, yoga, Pilates, things like that, right? Walk. They love nature. My people tend to love nature, want to heal the planet. Where do they hang out online? Generally speaking, my people don't actually like social media, right? So for me to have an Instagram account or do stuff like that does not pay off in any way, right? Some people have seen me either on YouTube or Facebook, but it's usually because they're following someone else or someone else told them about me, right? I do have free Facebook groups, but most of my people don't spend a lot of time on social media. They'd rather be with friends and family and building genuine relationships. So think about your people. Where do they hang out offline? Offline, right? So most of my people spend time with themselves, right? Most of my people are introverts, not every single one of them, but most of my people are introverts that follow me, and they need this self-reflection time, this inner healing time. They need quiet time from themselves. Even if they're extroverts, they need time off the grid. Does that make sense? Right? So know where are your people hanging out offline, right? It could be at the yoga studios. It could be at, I don't know, wherever. Going to retreats. A lot of my people go to retreats. A lot of them are doing some spiritual healing. But I find actually a lot of times when they work with me is when they're starting their path, right? When they're still building their business, when they're starting their path. Or they've created a business and they have become much more spiritual over time. And it's then how do we change this? So I work with like a lot of doctors and scientists, and they've been so trained, and then they have that aha moment, like something happened in their life. Everyone has a journey story. And they're like, oh my gosh, now I realize that this doesn't really suit me, right? This doesn't work. I don't believe in this anymore, right? That happens a lot, especially with doctors, happens a lot. But they still want to be a doctor. They still want to be a healer, right? But how can we make their business a little bit different? So know what it is for your people. Maybe they all had this aha moment, right? My people all have journeys, right? Something happened in their life that made them switch or turn. What are his or her favorite stores? Where do they shop? Right? My people tend to not like material things. It doesn't mean they don't live a great life, but if they're spending their money, it's usually on something that makes them feel good, not just having stuff. They don't wear a lot of name brand stuff. Most of my people just wear, like fair trade shirts or whatever it is. They don't need a lot of name brand stuff. What is it about you that they love? Why are they attracted to you? It took me a long time to figure out that people were attracted to my energy and who I actually am. And I tried for, well, I've had this company now for 10 years, but the first few, like I wanted to stay in the background. I didn't want to be the face of the company. And I learned that that was a really bad business decision because people are actually interested in me. And that's why now I do the master classes myself. I used to hire other people to do them. Right. So people never actually understood who I was. So find out why people are attracted to you, because that's what you want to put out there. If I have one-on-ones with you, and if you've been a part of it, I probably have had a one-on-one with you. If not, get in touch with me. I always do it on Zoom, always, because this is where I excel, is talking to people one-on-one in Zoom. That's what works for me. That's the best. Like if you're a writer and your words move people, you should be writing, right? So it depends how you move people, how people are attracted to you, how they know you. It could be a lot of other things. Are they conservative? Are they liberal? Do they enjoy humor? Does swearing offend them? Right? Kind of depends. I have a potty mouth. I don't do that here on camera though, but I am just me. Right? And what are their main pain points? I want to talk about pain points a little bit because I don't believe in pain marketing. I believe in transition marketing. So tell them when they work with you what the outcome will be. Right? You can say, if you feel this, I can bring you to this. But I don't like when people just do pain marketing, because you're saying you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough, work with me. Right? And then usually if you're doing that, by the way, you're getting clients that are not enough and will not afford working with you. Right? So be very careful when you're marketing with pain points, because you're attracting people that want to feel that pain. They are not where you are yet. Does that make sense? Right? Do the transition, or the transition or something that they're going through at that moment, but they're on their journey to healing or being better. Does that make sense? Right? So they can say, oh, I can see my future. I can see this clearing. You don't want to get people to be in victim mode and connect there. I also wrote, how does the pain points make them feel? They could feel exhausted, they could feel, but be very careful of how do you want to feel more joy in your life, right? Not, not the pain that they're feeling. Does that make sense? One of the big ones that I write with avatars, and you can have more than one avatar, but I think it's really important to have your, like, it's like the 80-20 rule. 80% of your people are usually one form of people, right? And if you have different services, I always think it's good to have at least 3. Usually like a low, middle, high. You could have different avatars for each of those, right? My high-end avatar, like they have some core values, but my high-end avatar is a little different than my lowest end avatar, like for my lowest program, right? Because they're at way different levels of what they can afford. Does that make sense? They're usually at different points in their life or career too. All right, so, but your core group should be exactly the same, right? And then my high-end packages might have these 5 attributes and my low-end packages may have these 5 also. Does that make sense? Yes? All right. Very important, the words that they use. Right? I always say like soul is a real important one for me. When people use the word soul, I know that they're probably my people. I listen for how they explain things and how they talk about themselves, how they talk about others, where they hang out, even groups or networking groups. Like I know some networking groups, if they're in there, they're probably not my people, but other networking groups, they're probably my people. Does that make sense? Right? That's how you can figure it out. But they all are using certain words. And I always say, if you're getting testimonials and people from your ideal clients, ask your ideal clients how they talk about you or what you do for them. And they will use words that you didn't know you were. Does that make sense? Like I had someone use the word for our membership. They're like, this is really a business incubator. We adopted that word right away and we use it all the time in all of our marketing. I don't know why I'm going blurry all the time. But it was our clients that used that word. It was actually one specific client that used that word and we became a business incubator. Just made sense. I'm trying to think of other ones. Nothing's coming to mind at this exact moment. But I know when I was trying to figure out, like, what do I call myself? A lot of times when I use the word strategy, people repelled from strategy. I do continue to use strategy because after I thought about it, I was like, my people usually understand strategy, right? They know that they are in need of a strategy. So I decided, okay, I'm still going to adopt that word, right? What are some words that you guys use? Write in the chat if you can too. Just looking at the chat real quick. All right, a few other questions, then I'm gonna kind of open it up so we can have more of a discussion because I like interactive more than presenting. Another one was, what would make them happy? Right, so we know our pain points, but what makes them happy? Like for me, most of my people love nature, right? They like family, they like friends, they like deeper relationships. Those are things that make them happy more than stuff. Right? So you have to know what makes your clients happy. What are they searching for? What do they do in their free time? That could be something too. Right? What are they doing in their free time? If they have a certain background, like I always say, my people are very logical, but spiritually led. Right? A lot of my people worked in corporate, doctors, lawyers, CPAs, scientists. I worked with a lot of chefs. people that have very logical minds, but they use the word spirit or universe or, something along those lines, because it can't be both. Like, I mean, it can't, for me, if you're just logical and you're an introvert, you could have all of those things. But if you're not soul led, my stuff's not going to resonate. You're going to fight me all the time. Right. So that doesn't work for me. On their healing journey. I like that, Amber. On their healing journey. They know they are healing for something. I also say in mine, they know they're meant for bigger things. Here, I'm going to write, and I write it in my advertising. So if you go to my LinkedIn page, I'm going to read this to you. This is only one paragraph, but it really comes from my avatar so they can self-recognize themselves. It says, I specialize in designing lifestyle businesses for logical-minded, high-caliber individuals who are meant for bigger things. This could be someone stepping into entrepreneurship for the first time after years of corporate work and wishing to dovetail who they are with what they do, or with those who have plateaued in a current business model or career and are ready for that next level of success. Most of my clients walk to a different drumbeat and need help strategizing the business model of their dreams, or they need tweaking in another area of their life that has them working too hard, not producing enough money, or no longer serves them. You see, so people can say, oh, I think that's me. I'm looking for another one. And also in LinkedIn. This paragraph, I'm randomly reading you paragraphs. So this is under my private work. In my one-to-one work, I hold space to allow visionaries to push the boundaries of their ideas to conceive larger than life concepts and lean into what is possible in all areas of their life. I have worked with CEOs at the multi-million-dollar level to the local wellness center. One thing my clients all have in common is that they are logically minded, spiritually grounded, and know they are meant for bigger things. They are usually highly successful and or notable in one area of their life, but feel unfulfilled in others. They are searching for freedom, more time, and that next big thing. All right. Is that helpful? Are you getting the idea of where these people are hanging out? So so that last paragraph was really my higher end client. But they all have that, what I call that golden thread, right? I also have knowing their greatest fears and knowing what they wish for so deeply that they do not say it out loud. So for me, it's they know they're meant for bigger things, right? They're searching for freedom, they're searching for time, and they're looking for this lifestyle, how to dovetail who they are with what they do, right? So when I'm talking to people and I'm asking questions about them and their business and what their journey is, what got them started, those are the things that I'm looking for, right? When people are exhausted, they may or may not be my client. Kind of depends where they are in their exhaust. Like if you're just going into exhaustion and you're burnt out, you're probably not my person. It's when you're ready to pick yourself back up or you've done some work to get through that piece that then they're usually ready to work with me. Does that make sense? All right, I want to open the floor up a little bit for questions, thoughts about all of this, so I can answer you guys individually more about your avatar and what you need or think. Any questions or anything? Thoughts? Nobody has a single thought. All right. Introspective and want to know themselves in the deepest levels. Yes.
I have a thought if you can hear me, Camille. It's Amber. My video's off because I've been stuffing my face.
Sure.
But I just suggestions for like words to use because I feel like my avatar is someone who equally believes in science for their healing and woo. Do you know what I mean? Like they
Yep.
want both. Like it's, they understand that there are like things going on in their bodies on a cellular level, and they are also open to the possibility that like the universe and energy and things they can't see are.
Yes. So I always say, I mean, that's kind of my people too. So I say
Yeah.
they embrace both science and soul. That's why I work with so many doctors, right? They embrace science and soul.
Yeah.
Those are my words. You have to figure out your words, right? The extreme woo are probably not my people.
Right. Yeah.
Good question though. And who wrote this? Oh, Felicia. Felicia wrote, we define our avatars and then what? That's a really good question. All right. So the reason you define your avatars, so you yourself know who your person is when you're talking to them, right? And then you can actually start asking qualifying questions. And I always teach in my, in my business accelerator or my one-on-one clients. So when you think someone is a possible client, there has to be a way to funnel them into like a 5-point questionnaire, right? You can do that as like in your discovery call, you can ask questions. Or like with me, when I talk to people, I just ask questions, right? Because then I know if they're my people or not my people, right? And I literally have like a little score sheet. It's not a score sheet, but I write down everyone I meet. And then I'm a very visual person, so I have to work within my own thing. And I put little stars for different things. I highlight people for different things. So I can visually just look at it and remember who people are and who are my people. Because my first goal is to talk to 20 new people every single month, right? I do that pretty easily. It wasn't always easy. It's very easy for me now, right? So much so that I have to throw people into other months because it becomes too overwhelming to talk to that many people. But then they get like, are they my people or not my people? And then they get another star if they could become a client. That at some capacity they could work with me, right? So your avatar is really, so you identify with them, right? And if you use it in your marketing, they self-identify, right? So as I wrote that on my LinkedIn, people can read that and go, oh, she works with people like me, right? And then they might say, oh, can we have a call or can we do something? And when you're doing your 30-second intro or you're in networking groups, you should be using some of those words to describe what you do, right? Or to ask a question right before you introduce yourself. So you can say something like, are you frustrated in business? Or are you looking for more time and freedom in the lifestyle business you've always wanted? Like, or do you dream of travel? Or do you dream of healthy mornings? Or whatever it is for you. If you started with a question, people will start to listen for the answer if it's them, right? So if they're not listening, they're not your people anyway. So that is one way to tune in really quickly for people. I always have my name on the bottom with Soul Professional because that's my trademark on the bottom. So a lot of people just say, I loved what you said, or I loved that name. Can you tell me more? And I'm always like, hey, let's jump on a one-on-one, right? And I'd love to learn more about you and your business as well. I always let the other person talk first. And I'm asking them questions to see if they're qualified, right? And then when I'm speaking to them, if they sound like they are, that's the story I give back to them, right? If they say, oh, I'm stuck here, or I came from here, I can say, this is what I know who I'm talking to. So I can talk about, these are the programs I have. Instead of vomiting everything I do, I just keep it very specific to the person I'm talking about. These are some of the things I do. They don't, like, if they're not a high-end client, they don't even need to know that I do that in life, right? I just tell them the piece that they need to know. If they ask more questions, I can give them more answers. But you should not be vomiting 1,000 services that you can do just because you're do it or certified, right? You should listen to what that person is saying and needing and then answer appropriately. Does that make sense? That's how you use your avatar. But the avatar is really for you and your marketing. All right. That my ideal client is looking for someone they can connect with personally as well as professionally. I mean, when they're looking for you, Bev? Great advice. Thank you.
Yeah. They want communication, because with web designers, a lot of them have been bitten by folks
Yes.
that didn't communicate or ghosted them and things like that.
Yeah. So that could be part of your introduction is I hear you.
Mhm.
Right? Have you ever worked with a web designer who just couldn't hear who you were? Right? And that's why your specialty could be like soul-led people. It's not everybody.
Yeah,
Right?
for
So
sure.
if you specialize with soul-led people, and all of you, we probably work with my community as well, that starts to narrow it, right? You should never defend who you are, but you want to narrow it as much as possible. I'm a big believer in the more you niche down, the easier it'll be for you, because you can easily say, you're not my people. And there's nothing better to say, you're not ready to work with me yet. Or I don't think I'm a good match, but let me introduce you to someone who would work with you a little bit better. Right? I actually have a great relationship with another, I don't know what she, probably a business coach. I don't know what she calls herself. I call myself more of an advisor and mentor. I'm really not a coach. We have the same group of people. She only works with women though. But the very soul-led, high energy. But our one difference is I think I lean more into the soul and she leans heavy into the doing part of it. Like you got to do, right? And really that's our only difference. But I clearly see it in the clients that we bring. If we talk to a whole group of people, very few people would say, which one would I go to? And we do almost the same thing, right? That's why I don't believe that there is competition in the world. Because you are you, and no one could be better at being you than you. So the more you are, that's what you're marketing, right? The more authentic you are, the better it is and easier it is for you to attract the right client, because they're attracted to who you actually are. So if you're putting stuff out on social media that is not you and does not feel good, it'll attract the wrong client to you, right? You can't pretend to be an extrovert if you're an introvert. It doesn't work that way. Does that make sense? So think about what you're putting out there, and you're better out putting out less that is authentic than just filling up the airways. Neurospicy. I love that. And they wear their freak flag with pride. I love that. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. I love that. Thank you, Hank. But I agree. I just call it creatives. I call it multi-passionate, right? As I've learned in my adult life, I am extremely ADHD. And I've just learned to deal with it. But I find that most of the people I attract are too, because those are the highly creative, multi-passionate people in the world, right? And when they come to me, I get it. And that's why I said, don't vomit all your services, because I know every single one of you do 1,000 things, because you wouldn't be here if you weren't. That's who I attract. I know it, right? We've done so many things. I still have a list of things like, hey, I haven't learned this yet. Right. And I give myself 2 hours a day to learn new things. 2 hours of my day, every single day, is to learn new things. And it's just in there because I need to be more scheduled because of the way my brain works. But I also need tons of free time. Like I was just in Europe for 2 weeks, but today is actually the first day that I'm working. I gave yesterday a day just to catch up with jet lag, and I still have a little bit of it. But I have like 3 things I'm doing today and like a lunch tomorrow, like really easy, because Monday I go back into my thing. But I knew when I came back that I am not capable of a bounce back. just not capable of it. So I don't make myself do that, right? I give myself the luxury of slowly acclimating back to life, right? And you have to know yourself. When I have client calls, I do an hour and a half between calls. Hour and a half. Because it allows me to do any follow-up work. It allows me, like, if that call goes over, I want to give someone as much time as I can. I don't ever want to cut someone else. I want to hear them. And then I know that I need a mental break. So you guys have to know yours too. All right. We have 5 more minutes. So hopefully this was helpful. There's lots of stuff out there. You know, of course, when I'm teaching, I'm going through a lot of stuff. But this, I think, is a good overview. Christy, you have a question?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment
Okay.
that for those who do know human design, I've been sharing since I've discovered this, that there's something called your fractal line. And I think of that too as your avatar, because when you understand, and I always say this too, I love that you said it's the previous version of you, but if you understand who you're attracting and the common theme that exists, that's called your fractal. So it's a reason you're attracting them because there's something in your energy. So that's just a little tidbit I wanted to add.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. We're always attracting. Always attracting. You just can control it a little better when you know who you want to attract. Because you are always attracting people. Right? And that's why I say my third book's coming out. It's called Leaving Your Legacy. And one of the points I make is you're always leaving a legacy. So be really careful with what you're imprinting out in the world. Because people always remember you for something. So this is all stuff that you can control. All right. Any other questions? Concerns, thoughts? Was this helpful? Helpful? Yeah. Do you guys have a better idea of why avatars are important to us? Yeah. And like I said, you just keep narrowing down, narrowing down. A great place to figure out your avatar in the beginning is to go back to like 2 years of your ideal clients, not all of your clients, your ideal clients, those that paid on time, those that made it, those that went through your programs and had success, those that were easy to work with, those you loved showing up, you were excited about their success, your ideal clients, because they probably have a common thread, right? They're probably very common, and then you can add to that. Good, I'm glad you found this all helpful. All right, so I will just remind you guys that the community as a whole has, I do soul-led networking or power hour, I forget what I call it, the third Tuesday of every single month at 1 p.m. Eastern time that you are always invited to. Summers are kind of slow, but we usually have about 40 people showing up. Very well done. And the 4th Thursday of every single month, we have these free masterclasses. These are always recorded. So if you've missed one, you can always get all of the recordings on the website or on my YouTube channel. They're always over there. You can always reach out to me and ask any questions afterwards. And I do want you guys to know that I am releasing the next pod of our business accelerator. I did a beta in summer accelerator, and I am going to release it again. My emails should be written this weekend to go out again. It will start in September. It'll go through the end of the year. So it is 4 months, 16 weeks of group training, plus you get one-on-one mentoring with me to build your business. I am not going to increase the price of what I did last time because I do want to go through it one more time with another group before I make any changes to the program, but it will be a 16-week program, and you do get one-to-one mentoring going through it. We have had wonderful, incredible success through the first few ones that just went through. So I do want to put it out there again because I loved doing it, and that brings you everywhere from, you know, it's all of your strategy, everything, what you are, what you're doing, your mission, your vision, what your ultimate dream is, what your dream life would be if money didn't matter. how you would show up every single day, to the finance, to your packages, to your pricing, to your self-confidence. It includes absolutely all your messaging, your branding, all of it is included in this. It is a complete MBA class, because I literally took the business curriculum and redesigned it for soul-led individuals. Plus, you get me as a mentor, and I go through what I do with my high-end one-on-one clients. We just do it as a group. We create your businesses and we make sure they're successful and in alignment. So if you're interested, you can let me know. We can have a different discussion about it, but that will go off in September. And that's all I got. So thank you guys for coming and being a part of my master classes. I hope to see you all in the community. Please reach out if I can help or serve you in any way, or if you have any questions afterwards, always happy. You can also put it in our Facebook group, and I see things that go up there, or you can tag me, and I'm happy to help out. So we'll see you guys soon. Bye, everyone.